Dice, president of the Houston East End Chamber of Commerce, and thank you for joining us for our Feel Good Friday. Today is so super special for me because we've got Cesar Galindo. He's a Houston-born fashion designer, and we both went to Milby High School, and I'm wearing this Milby t-shirt in his honor. Hi, Cesar.
Hi, Francis. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. It is such an honor to have you on this program. I'm loving your background, and we'll talk about that more in a second. But Cesar, tell us how you got started in becoming a fashion designer.
Oh, well, I look. My mom and dad are immigrants from Mexico. I'm the youngest of 11 children, and my mother knew how to do everything with her hands. She could sew, knit. She repaired socks. It's just a whole different world. But she was really incredibly talented, and I learned how to sew from my family, from my mother and some of my sisters. My father was a butcher, and we had meat markets in Houston. He was one of the first businesses that actually catered to the community in the barrios of Houston. It was Galindo's Meat Market. So, my mom and dad were my dynamics of who I am now. They're my DNA, obviously, but my father was the business side and my mother was the creative side, but my father was a stylish one. So it's like, I have to say, I got the balance of both in myself. And I started making clothes when I was a little kid, and when I was in junior high, I was selling stuff on the curb on Westheimer. And then in high school, I made some of my friends' prom dresses, winter whirl from Milby. I don't remember those things. The GVCs would do the winter whirl, and that's the Girls Booster Club. And it was a yearly thing that they did. I've been doing this all my life, and it's a gift, and there's no formal training. So I learned most of my technique through my family. So
I love it. I love it. And again, we both graduated from Milby. I graduated in '84, and then I heard that you did make prom dresses for people in 1985. I was super jealous. I'm like, goodness, why didn't I, ask them back then? But I hope that they still have those dresses today because they could be in the Smithsonian somewhere.
Oh, stop, Francis. Yeah, I don't know. They're probably at a Goodwill somewhere. I have no idea.
Oh, no. So right now you're in New York, and you got a beautiful history. We're going to show another picture up here so you can tell us about some of these experiences that you've had, the luck that you've had. Can you just walk us through your journey from Houston to New York?
Yeah, well, I was selling to a store in Houston on Montrose called Strands. And Strands had a scout come from New York through Texas, and they asked a group of Texas designers to do a show at the Danceteria. This was my senior year in high school. So I did not graduate from Milby. I left in my senior year to do the show in New York. And I remember my student council, some teachers following down the hall telling me I was making a mistake. But that was part of my journey. I came to New York. I did a show with a bunch of designers at the Danceteria, where Madonna was a co-check person at the club. So it's just like, I'm taking myself way back, but I went back to Houston, and then I started getting contracts like with Visible Changes, doing their uniforms, and they sponsored my shows, Marianne and John McCormick from Visible Changes. So I started, and then Paige Parks took me under her wings, and then I started traveling with this Paige and her agency, and it just was I just kept on going. I kept on going where I felt I was being guided to. I always prayed to be guided and doing what I should be doing. And it's been a really special journey. So, that's the beginning parts of where I'm at, why I am where I'm at now. So
that's beautiful. And tell us about what we're seeing right now.
Besides having my own label, I have a contract career in New York. I've been working as a contract creative person. And I was traveling privately with Mariah Carey on a promotional tour, and Andre Leon Talley tagged on with her and us, and me and him became friends. At one of her events, Francisco Costa, who was the creative director for Calvin Klein collection at that time, he did it for 17 years, asked me to come and work for Calvin on some projects. And that Women's Wear Daily cover right there is a dress that I did for Calvin Klein collection under Francisco's wings. And I became he told me one day I became his good luck charm, but all the stuff I did for Calvin for him was featured in editorials. That's a Women's Wear Daily cover there. I'm a draper, so you could see my work even in Calvin Klein and in my own work. It's a continuous kind of silhouette of draping. So that's what I'm known for in the marketplace. In the design world, I'm known as a draper. So
I hear that they've coined you the King of Drape.
well, I'm in my profession, I'm considered a master draper, which is kind of like, it sounds like an old viejito, like an old man, but that's what I am. And it comes naturally to me. I believe in the textiles that are dictating the drape of the garment, and the fabric inspires me. I don't work from an illustration. I work from the fabric, and then I illustrate it. I kind of work backwards.
That's
So.
beautiful. And these are sketches, and then your
Yeah,
final.
well, these are different shows from New York Fashion Week, actually. The top one is a presentation with Mercedes-Benz New York Fashion Week. The one on the right is inspired by Joan Jett, with somebody that I've worked with for a long, long time now. I do all her stage clothes. But if you look at all the girls, they all look like Joan Jett. There's Joan Jett wigs on them. It's like a rock and roll collection.
Mm-hmm.
The one below that is a New York Fashion Week. The one to the left, the pink, that finicky, flowy thing, that's a model named Grace Boyle. And that's when she first started. She was on America's Next Top Model. Now, if you look her up, she's a supermodel. She's done the Tom Ford campaign. She's on every commercial you can imagine. I could never afford her anymore, but I knew her when she was a baby. So the girl below her, and where there's two pictures of her, that's a Paige Parks model that came to New York. We featured her. I like to feature a lot of New York, Texas talent. I do a lot of shows sometimes in New York with a woman named Bambi Lynn, and she gets the girls. She casts the girls in Houston, mostly from Paige Parks, all new faces, and then we bring them to New York, and they get featured at Fashion Week, and it just gives them an opportunity to get outside the box of our Harris County city limits. You know what I mean? Or city limits, and then you never know. There might be a new star within the mix, and they get to have a New York Fashion Week experience. So some of those images are from that. The one on the right with Women's Wear Daily, that's another collection with Calvin Klein with Francisco. And that girl was our Calvin Klein model, who was a major model. So these are just images from Fashion Week and some editorial.
Beautiful, beautiful. And then some of the celebrities that you've worked with, I see there's a picture here of you with Gwen Stefani. Can you tell us about that?
Oh my gosh. So my friend was her stylist and design director, and they had a collection, and they were really frustrated. I get a call from her, and she's like, do you have time to meet with Gwen today? Because we're doing something and we might cancel the collection. So I went over to their showroom. I met Gwen, and they showed me what they were doing. She goes, I don't like what the collection looks like, and I'm thinking about canceling the show today, but we want to know if you could help us. And I was like, sure. They go, here's the fabrics. Here's the direction. You see what you could do. Within 24 hours, I put together a capsule for her. It became like opening, closing, also the Women's Wear Daily. And Gwen told me at the end of that show, she goes, you've been the missing link in my creative team. She goes, would you work for us some more? And I was like, sure. So then I started going to Canada, where they have their offices. And I would meet with Gwen there and the rest of the creative team. And I developed collections for her out of Canada for her business. So, she's an amazing person. She's as real as they come. So fun, and just like, I feel like we knew each other forever. It was just really nice. I worked with a lot of amazing, talented people. I'm really blessed. The other picture is a cast of Pose, and the second dress the beaded dress. So I'm the creative and design director for Kimora Lee Simmons, and now we're doing baby fat. I have multiple hands, multiple heads, multiple legs. It's like, because we have to be diverse, right? In today's marketplace, you have to be diverse. But I have that second piece is a Kimora Lee Simmons collection piece, but it's my work for her. So, and this is a cast of Pose. It was just an ad campaign. No,
I enjoyed the watching Pose, and it's just so nice to see that you actually worked with all of them.
Oh yeah, you know what? It's they're everybody. Whenever you're on your high end of being a celebrity, especially in the media, as an actor, a performer, singer, even a designer, you have to enjoy those moments. And you could tell in the picture, they're having a blast. You know what I mean? So Mike Ruiz is an incredible photographer, actually pulled the pieces for this shoot for me. And it's I guess creativity attracts creativity. So I've been really lucky.
That's wonderful. And this right here is in Houston, and I know that Houston has a big part of your roots and the design culture. Can you tell us about this and how Houston still influences you today?
Oh my God. So, well, I was born and raised there. So it's like, and I'm Latino, I'm Mexican American, first generation. And if you noticed almost every picture that you saw, there's very little black, but there is black. But yeah, I'm about color. I'm about flavor. It's about very sexy. So this is during Houston Fashion Week. I was part of the team of actually organizing that with the mayor, with the mayor's office, with the city, with the oh my God, the people that organize all the events in Houston. Somebody that you work for, also. I think it's part of the Houston Chamber of Commerce. So we presented the idea. They housed it in the Worthing Theater, and this is actually the finale of a capsule collection that I did called Rojo, and it was for AIDS Foundation Houston, and everything here got auctioned off to for the organization. So, but these are all Houston models again. So it was a proud moment in my hometown, and it's always I come back a lot. I'm actually coming back in October to do a trunk show at Sloan Hall. On the 8th and the 9th. And I'm excited about that because it's going to be a COVID trunk show experience, which is new to me. I haven't done that. And I'm more, I love going home because I see my family, I see my friends, and I get to see my clients that have supported my work. Even in the worst of times, I call it my Texas because I feel like it is my Texas, and my Houston have supported who I am as an artist. Even when the world has been really tough business, I mean, we go through cycles, right? So I've gone through a couple, and I've been really blessed to have those people behind me. So it's good.
I love it. So this is Hispanic Heritage Month, and it's our Feel Good Friday, and it's an honor to have you on here. How has your culture influenced your designs?
Oh my God! Well, print, and more print, and color, and more color, and bold, and confidence. I grew up with 5 sisters and an incredible mother, and they're all like Wonder Women in my life, and they're very confident who they are in wearing accessories and carrying themselves, and kind of, I would say, edgy for who they are. But our culture is holds that in their blood. That's part of who we are and where we come from. So I feel like my work reflects that, because I feel I'm not making clothes for everybody. You know what I mean? And I have worked for companies where we do clothes it's for the masses. But if you see my work, it's really specific to personalities. And I design pieces for different personalities that I know beyond my family, my friends, my clients, and the fantasy. But it's more about I always know that a dress has a name or an outfit has a name that somebody's. So I don't know. I mean, I remember when you bought one of my pieces, Francis. It's like you're ready to have fun in it. It's like this beautiful little. It was all
Red.
frayed. It's like
You remembered.
I remember when you came out of the back. I was like, oh my God, and it was short, but you know what? You could carry it. You know what I mean? It was like you were back. You're almost like being back in your co-ed cadet days.
That's true. That's true. I felt that way, and I love it. I wore it on New Year's Eve, and everyone loved it. And so thank you for that. But now that you're in New York, and how long have you been in New York?
I've been here for about, I want to say, over 28 years, 29 plus years. I feel like it's a love-hate relationship. It's a tough city. You work hard, but you make commitments to be here. So I'm here. I travel a lot. I go home. I get to go home a lot. I get to go to some other places on a regular basis. So I think the important part of living in New York is knowing how to get away from New York. And I have the privilege to do that. I'm actually, it's part of my business. So it's New York is incredible. It's not for everybody, and neither is the oil field. You know what I mean? Neither is the tumbleweed. But I come from that. I tell stories in New York to people from New Yorkers, that've never seen a chicken. We had chickens in our backyard. You know what I mean? It's like, but it's like, I used to ride a horse every day in junior high. I would go from Dee Junior High. My father would pick me up and take us to my ranch in Pearland, and I had to train every day, do the lasso. We were charros, right? So it's like, this is part of my culture. I was a shit kicker. I mean, that's basically it. So it's like, I like the smell of horse manure. Those are things I miss. But when I tell that story, and I did the saltgrass trail ride 5 years in a row, from LaGrange, Texas to the rodeo. And it's like, so I grew up that way, but I live in New York City and I've been here for a long time. But when you tell that story to New Yorkers, they're like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah, I come from the country. Yeah, Houston is still country to me, okay? I don't know.
I love it. So when you come back, what are some of the restaurants or what are some of the things that you have to do when you come back to Houston?
Oh my God. So I always want to go to Luby's. I want some iced tea. I have certain meals I like to eat at Luby's. I like to go to Ninfa's on Navigation, and I like to see I go to certain landmarks that are like really part of like Houston. You know what I mean? So we still have the house that I grew up in over in my neighborhood in Elk Meadows, Meadow Creek. You know what I mean? Elk Meadows doesn't mean but I still see my friends Esmeralda Galvan. I get to my friend Gonzo. There's certain people in my life from back then that I see, and we get together, or we try to get together. But it's going to be interesting that this time because of the COVID situation. But I mean, there's a way to do it, right? We have to figure it out.
Well, I have some bad news. Luby's is closing. COVID has hurt them, and so we'll have to go get you some iced tea and freeze it for you.
No, that's so sad. I have the recipe book from Luby's.
Oh, so you can make it.
Yeah, but there's nothing like standing in the line. There's things from Texas that I mean, we were gonna go see Lizzo at the rodeo right before they shut the rodeo down, and I was bringing a bunch of New Yorkers with me. They were so excited, and everything shut down. Which I feel like they did the right thing at the time. But I mean, that's the last time we were planning a trip to go to Houston.
And we were planning to go to Lizzo too, and so sad that happened. I hope that the same artists come back next year for that. But rodeo, how important is rodeo? Because I didn't you do like a little art or Western wear theme one day?
I did a whole special capsule for Houston. It was all rodeo inspired. I did lots of denim jackets it's just fun stuff, super embellished. They actually said rodeo on it. It was really kitschy, but it was I did all these silk blouses that had cowboys and Indians all over them. Just sexy, easy pieces, but it was just really kind of nostalgic to that rodeo theme, which is, totally us, right? It's like us, meaning Texas altogether. But, rodeo is a big deal for me. We watch TV and I tell Ken, I saw the Jackson 5s at the rodeo. I saw Captain Antonino at the rodeo. I saw Donny Osmond. I saw the Osmonds at the rodeo. Donnie Marie. It's like, it just goes on and on and on and on. But it's like, that was the good old Astrodome, right? It was a totally different experience. But the rodeo is a big deal. And it's hopefully, we all have to put a pause button on life. And, we're still, the important thing is that we know it's going to get better. So I think we have to keep our eye on the ball.
Speaking of getting better and COVID is around us, what have you done to keep yourself sane during COVID?
Well, I put on about 15 pounds. That's why you're looking at my shoulders up. And I did dress properly down below too. I can't do Zoom meetings. I feel like I'm halfway dressed. FYI. During COVID, we've been isolated here in New York City, so we stayed in the city. Me and my husband Ken, we stayed in our house for over 78 days, and we're still together, and we're still alive, and I have all my fingers, and we cooked a lot, and we ate all the food we bought. And I feel like there's been a great awareness, a consciousness of existence, and being more responsible, and thinking about your carbon footprint, and just being really, we save so much money. You know what I mean? Because it's really easy to eat out. We did spend a lot, we did drink a lot, but at the same time, we did realize a lot of things that are so much more important that you just take for granted, that it could be a retirement fund. You know what I mean? So it's like, and also we supported our local restaurants by ordering in. There's a lot of things that happen, but it's I think, we're looking forward to things changing. The seasons change here already. The temperatures change. So that kind of helps change the vibe, because I think monotonous in every situation becomes really kind of like, it's cynical. It becomes kind of like you get stir crazy. But you know, it's New York is it's coming back slowly, and I think we have to come back smartly too. So
That's wonderful. And so you've been influenced by a lot of people who've given you all these wonderful breaks and that led you to where you are today. Are you mentoring people, and how does that work?
oh God, yes. Well, there's always I've actually I consider myself a mom and a daddy. I have a lot of adopted children in my life, and I've had I have a lot of great talented people that, you know what it is, I when I was younger and I wanted something, and you seem to get a little bit more lax as you get older. But if I saw something, I would had no fear. I was fearless. I would step up and say, you know what, I would like to help, or I would like to be a part of. And I've had a lot of incredible talent come from different places of the world. Even when I've done shows in Texas, I've had like 7 or 8 kids that have helped just dress at a backstage at a show. And then I was like, well, we have internships all the time in New York. Bring them here, you know what I mean? And then they come here and they get to be a part of this. The models are the same way too. It's like they just need an opportunity, they need a chance, and they need somebody to say, yeah, okay, why not? Let's try this. And then, you know, you just have to figure out really what their abilities and their passions truly are, and then guide them within your business to grow. And I've done that. I mean, I believe in that wholeheartedly, because that people have done that for me my whole life. So it's important to pass it on. And it's part of my mantra. Actually, that's how I live. That's how I exist. Is just by that energy, because I don't know where I would be without other people that have supported me just in helping and wanting to become something more. So it's like we all have a landing pad. You know what I mean? You have to decide what you're doing when you land on that pad, and where you're gonna go from that, being propelled from it. So I have a long list, and they're all my friends. They've all matured, and I'm proud of them. I mean, every time something happens, it's like, you know, it's amazing, you know, because I knew them when they were babies. So it's part of how I do my business.
Thank you so much for giving back like that. That's amazing. We got a question here for you. It's like, what has been the most surreal moment during your career?
Oh God. When you know what, I don't know. Yeah, there's a handful, but there's a lot of times when, and I shared this the other day with somebody, when you realize you're in a place and the bubble thoughts are like, oh my God, this is it. I'm here at this this is a special place to be, right? I'll bring up a celebrity name, Mariah Carey. We're at her private after party at a hotel. It's just like 30 people, and she wants to change. So she goes, Cesar, you want to go with me to change? I'm like, okay, we're getting tipsy already. Okay, we go to change. I put her in a sexy outfit. Okay, she's like dressing my sister. Okay, and then the shoes were brand new and they were slippery. And I was like, give me your foot. And I grabbed the scissors and I pull her foot up between my legs like a boot. And I start scratching the thing, and I almost cut her toe.
Oh, no.
Know that we're all in a different. So it's like I had this little moment dressing her in an SUV, like when we were at the beach at Galveston, helping my sisters getting in and out of their bathing suits, and holding the towel up, and me helping her get dressed in a car. And I remember telling her too. I go, oh my God, this takes me back to dressing my sisters in the car as a little kid. She's like, oh my God. So it's like those are kind of surreal moments in life through my path, you know, that I'm like, wow, okay, I'm here. And then it's just, you know, you just have to embrace them and try not to not take them for granted either, because, you know, life has so many curves and you just have to take it as they come.
Hmm. So you come from a family of 11 children. You're the youngest. And I heard that you made your mom's 50th anniversary dress. Is that correct?
Yes, I did. I actually, you know what? My mother used to be my biggest critic. Okay, she would, when I was younger and Milby in junior high, she would literally sit down. She would look at it and she'd be like, "What is this? This is garbage. You can't give this away. You got to make this better." She was really detail oriented. Okay, because that's who she was, and she instilled in me to be like a little bit more accurate and precise and passionate about what I was doing. So when I would go to Houston, I would bring 2 suitcases. One would be my personal clothes. The other one would be all women's clothes, okay? And the only reason I brought it to Houston was to sit down in the living room, open it up, and pull them out and show them to her, and then turn them inside out. And my mother would start crying, okay?
Oh.
But she would be so proud, like, she goes, and because she really pushed me to become a better passionate person about my work. She goes, if you're putting your name on it, you have to make sure that it's done right. So when I was able to dress my mother and make clothes for her, that was just the next level for me to say, this is yours. It's the most beautiful fabric I could find. And it's like, and then I would do that over and over again. It's like, it made us both happy, you know?
Oh, I love this story. This is so beautiful. I know your whole family is probably super proud of you. Do they have to like get in line when you come to town? Because I know everybody wants a piece of you.
Well, if any of my family's paying attention now, I'm in kind of a little trouble because none of them knew that I was coming to Houston to do the truck show. But so there have been times where I had to do that, Francis, because you know what it is in our culture, and I believe it's our culture because we're like glue. You know what I mean? And then if you can't do one, you got to do them all. Okay, so it's like you have to start sharing time and planning time, and just So I mean, look, family's everything for me, and it's important. They're really a part of who I am in my heart. So I have to go home. And actually, Ken is coming to Houston with me on this trip because during COVID, you realize we need to spend time with our loved ones because time is precious, life is precious. So going home this time, I'm strategically planning something with all of them in different places, and there's different cliques within the
Mhm.
family. It's a lot of people.
I love it. Well, I want to be a part of that, and we adore Gonzo too. And he just won a Comcast Hispanic Hero Award, so you'll have to congratulate him on that.
Wow, that congratulations. That's amazing. And
Yeah.
Ruby too. You know, Ruby, remember?
Yes. Yes.
So those are just, there's a little girl group that we get together and we just hang out, but you're welcome to join us. Yeah.
Yes. So my dog, I apologize. My dog was crying a little earlier. I think she heard that the mailman go by. But so, have you ever thought of doing a pet line?
Oh, sure. Why not? For
Hmm.
horses and dogs.
I love it.
We used to do the blankets for, I mean, that's a whole different world, but I mean, pet business is look, we take care of our pets more than we take care of ourselves sometimes.
I
Why
know
not?
she's spoiled, and that's the way they're supposed to be.
Exactly. Well,
Another great question here is, what advice would you give to someone trying to make it in the fashion industry?
Um, I think the advice that I could give to anybody, and I guess any profession, but is to study what you want to do. Be passionate about it. Don't take things for granted. Don't get full of yourself. You know what I mean? It's like and also have a strategy, a plan. What is your end goal? Who's your customer? Who you design? These are questions. These are things that I was educated and groomed by professional people that were mentoring me, and I didn't even realize it. And it's like, who are you designing for? Keep the focus. That's what I do a lot of storyboards, and it keeps me in line. I know when I'm looking for fabrication or things like that, or I'm formulating a package. You have to keep focus and keep your parameters. Otherwise, you become a scattered everything. You can't do we. You can do everything, but you got to have a lot of money to do everything, and you got to throw a lot of money away. So it's important to just take your box, put it in a place, and just focus. And I think a lot of times designers think, you know, you're not going to be Marc Jacobs overnight, okay? The word couture is really used really loosely. Study a real couture dress, and then tell me if you're couture, because stay within your lane. And I think it's important to have a plan, and I think do your homework. Like we did, I used to go to Safeway on Galveston Road that was on Howard Drive by my house, right? They had Elle magazine, they had Vogue magazine. Every time I went to the grocery store, you know what I did? I looked at the magazine. I didn't even buy them. And then I started buying the magazines. We had magazines, we had publication that we bought because we were inspired. Now we have these. You can look at all the runway shows, you can look at all the designers, but don't take it so lightly. Really study it, and then practice it. I always tell people in the fashion world, I tell students, I do a lot with ACC in Houston because I support that program. I believe in that program because they do incredible work there. And is to study work, take things apart, look at the way things. I learned how to make sleeves, collars, waistbands by taking clothes apart and then putting it back together again. That's how I figure things out mechanically. That's what my brain does. You know what I mean? So I take 3D and I can break it down into a pattern. But that's just my twisted brain. But you have to study these things because that's part of who you are. And also, I think it's important to know from the bottom up. So whatever your position is in the industry, you know what you're talking about. You know how to solve it. I can't ask you to do anything I can't do myself. and I believe that's an important part of committing yourself to any profession, you know?
That's beautiful. That's great, great advice. Thank you. That's why you're a legend, because you did all this, and you're giving back. So thank you. Tell us about some of the TV shows that you've been on.
Oh my God. I've done some reality shows. I don't know if you ever saw it on Bravo. They had the follow up to Project Runway when they lost Project Runway. It was called The Fashion Show, and it was hosted by Iman and Isaac Mizrahi. And I got scouted out to do this. And the reason I was excited about it because Iman was on there, right? So I said I did it, went through the whole process, and I was part of the cast. And they got down to the final four, and it was two teams. This was totally a different format. And the two teams, we were then having to compete against each other. And that's when I got edited out. But I feel for me, it was like I learned so much about myself in the reality show experience. It's not so real.
Hmm.
It's really a lot of pressure, and they create a lot of drama. And actually, there's a lot of writers creating a story, a narrative of like the path of where it's going. So you become an edited. You just become it was really, I learned a lot of what reality TV actually is, and it's really a lot of it isn't real. And I enjoyed the process, and a great brand exposure because I was on national television, then it got syndicated. I've done several other things on television. I did something with Josie called All on the Line, and that's how I got into Cusp with Neiman Marcus because of Joe. So I've done a lot of different things like that. I did. One thing I'm really proud of that I have to share with you is Joan Jett has a documentary about her life. And there's a part in the show, in the movie, where her crotch rips open and she gets gaffer's tape and starts taping it up. And they're saying, oh, well, Kenny Laguna, her partner, goes, we'll send it to Cesar to fix it. She goes, Cesar doesn't want to fix this. He'll just make me a new one. So that outfit's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
And so it's like, so those are like parts of my life where it's a personal thing. It's my experience, but I'm proud of it because I love working with her. I love being a part of her DNA. She's a part, and being able to just collaborate like that. And she's been an incredible client that now became a friend. So, things like that. It's just, that's kind of surreal, but it's part of who I am.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I got two other great questions here. It says, have you ever designed a wedding gown?
Oh God, yes. A very special. I learned early on that I'll only take wedding gown projects if I know the person that knows the bride, because
Good.
bridezillas exist. Okay, and you know what I understand it's a really stressful time, and it becomes everybody deals with it in a different way. And I've done some beautiful. I'm actually really proud. I've done some like beautiful dresses for some friends that I was really passionate about, and they turn out. I have two wedding dresses. One that I gave back to the girl, and I let go, and then one I still have ransom because she was crazy. Like literally crazy. Okay, she was a newscast personality in New York. Oh my God, it became this whole other level situation. I'm like, I'm not gonna. I said, you know what? I'm done. I can't do this for you. So it's just like I do wedding dresses, but I have to know the person I'm doing it for, or somebody that knows the bride, because otherwise, and also. If it's somebody, I've done dresses for people that I know just as a gift because I love them and I believe that's something I could give them as a wedding present. So yeah.
Oh, that's so sweet. So sweet. Another great question here is, are you planning to write a book either about your work or the industry or your life?
You know what? I could, but I better start writing things down because I'm going to start forgetting soon. Yes, no, but you know what? I have to document my history because I come from the subculture of New York. I have a lot of great stories here. I come from the subculture power tools in Houston. I come from that world too, So, and I'm talking about the club world. My first show in Houston was at Rich's. My parents came to it. I mean, that's a long time ago. Okay, but there's a lot of I should just start writing things down because I have a visual history, but I don't have it written down.
Wow, that's great. Another person asked on Facebook if you ever designed a quinceañera dress.
Actually, I have for my niece.
Oh, that's so sweet.
That became a pain in the ass too.
Oh.
Family.
Mm-hmm. I know. So you have an Instagram account. So we should all follow you. What is that Instagram account?
My Instagram account is Galindo NYC. That's GALINDO NYC.
Perfect. I'm following it, and I think it's just beautiful, beautiful stuff. So, Cesar, you work so hard. You work, work, work. What do you do for fun?
I hang out with friends. When I really have time, I love to dance. I love to go dancing. I love music. It's another extension of my expression of who I am. I hang. Look at my age, you find the quality of time that you have. I share it with friends. We cook a lot now. We like to share food with people. We like to have nice dinners. We actually pull out the tableware and put it out together. I mean, why do you have things? I believe it's important to use whatever you have. So if we have something that we want to use, whether it's grandma's dishes or my dishes, whatever it is, we've been entertaining a lot. And I feel like the COVID experience has propelled that even more. So we like to entertain. We like to share time with friends. I love to travel and not work.
Mhm.
I love Mexico. I love that land. I love to go to the Caribbean. I like to travel. Unfortunately, can't travel as much as we used to travel. And but those are things that I do. I mean, a nice bottle of wine on a Friday at 5 o'clock. It's Wino Friday, guys. Come on.
And
You
it's
know?
Friday.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Cesar, it's been so amazing to talk to you and learn more about you. I'm just so super proud of you. You're from the East End, Milby grad, and now you're in New York, a very successful, legendary fashion designer. Is there anything that I didn't ask or that you would like to share with people that are out there, a question that you would like for people to ask you?
Um, no, I don't. You know what? You've kind of covered all the grounds, Francis. I love being a part of this because it's you, and I love that you're wearing the Milky T-shirt. I mean, I'm proud of where I came from, and I'll never forget that. And I think I'm so lucky that we've had that upbringing. So it's I think I told you earlier. Our high school days. I felt like, and I tell this to Ken because it's one of his favorite movies. Every time I watch Grease, it reminds me of my high school. I had fun in school. And I hope that the next generation, once we get past our situation now, are able to enjoy the upbringing that we had because it really was the beginning of our creative selves and who we are. And I felt I was given that opportunity to do that from being in drama and being in speech and just having those experiences. I mean, talent show. Oh my God, I live for talent show and choir. And I sound so gay right now, don't I? But it really cultivated me as a person creatively. And
Mhm.
I love where I can't wait to see the new Milby. You
It's
know,
beautiful.
oh my God, I can't wait to see it. And they kept the original facade on the front. Look,
They did.
my
I
hair's setting
know.
on it. I mean, 'cause I'm proud of where I came from. You know what I mean? I feel like it's a blessing. So.
Good. Well, I'll give you a tour. We'll introduce you to the new principal and some of the students there, or if they allow us. But you're going to love it. You're going to love coming back. Any kind of words of advice for people out there that are watching, that are young, that during COVID, I know this is everyone is indoors but life goes on. The show must go on, just like in Fashion Week. Any closing remarks that you would like to leave everybody with?
Uh, just be hopeful, respectful, and conscious. I think those are important words. And I think if you can maintain that through this, you'll be okay. I think when you start losing those certain parts of yourself, it spirals to another place. It's not actually a positive thing. So I think we all have to do that for each other.
I love
You know?
that. We should put that on a T-shirt with bling.
Yeah,
Hopeful.
yeah,
Those
yeah,
words. That's
yeah,
beautiful.
yeah. So
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much, Cesar. You're here October 9th through the 8th. We'll make sure that on our link to put where you're going to be at. If you have any of those extra rodeo shirts that for sale, please bring them too.
okay.
That'll be awesome. Thank you again from the bottom of my heart for joining us. Go Buffs, and good luck to you and everything that you do there in New York. Everyone will be here again next Friday for our Feel Good Friday. Make sure that you share this with people that didn't get to see it so that they can put a smile on their face. And have a wonderful weekend, Cesar.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.